right. So the voting process, there has been a lot of information coming out about what is going on, and I wanted to talk about it. So I'm going to be talking about the more important senators now. I'm going to begin with the good and then move into the bad because I think that's a better way to go about it. So, we have Lisa Murkowski, who's a Republican, who's the sole GOP opposition to Brett Kavanaugh. Now, she came out and she said that she is in opposition to Brett Kavanaugh. She says that she's gonna vote present on Saturday because one of the Republicans isn't going to be voting. He's gonna be taking part in his daughter's wedding instead of voting. So she's gonna vote present. But she came out and said she's in opposition to Brett Kavanaugh. So and she says she's in opposition to Brett Kavanaugh. So what I wanted to say is a big thank you to Lisa Murkowski. I want to give a lot of credit. And I recommend you go on social media and explain your support for Lisa Murkowski. There's a tweet of hers that she announced it in. I recommend you go and show that support because she made a very good decision, a very intelligent decision. And it's a very brave and courageous one on her part as a Republican. And if we want to incentivize people like Republicans to make these kinds of decisions, because if you remember, she was also one who was in opposition to the Obamacare repeal. So go show her support. She did a really great thing in announcing her opposition to Brett Kavanaugh. It is the right thing to do. And really big thank you to Lisa Murkowski. A lot of support coming from me for sure. And I hope you guys go out and show support for her as well. So that is the good. But the issue is she's the only GOP opposition. So it's 51 Republicans in the Senate, 49 Democrats, including 2 independents. So what you need is you need at least 2 people, assuming that everyone were to vote on party lines. Let's say 51 Republicans vote, 49 Democrats vote no, 51 Republicans yes. If you are able to flip one, that brings you to 50-50, which means that Mike Pence is going to come in, and we know which way Mike Pence is going to vote. He's going to vote in favor of Brett Kavanaugh. So that's useless. I don't want to diminish what Lisa Murkowski has done. What she has done is truly courageous, truly brave, and I really support her decision, and I'm very proud of what she did, and I really support her. So I'm not trying to diminish that. What I'm saying is that there needs to be another person in opposition in the Republican Party. But that was under the presumption that all the Democrats were going to vote against Brett Kavanaugh. But now we know that the biggest, like the least, I think he might be the least liberal Democrat in the Senate. His name is Joe Manchin. All of you guys know him. There was an opposition running against him, who I think it was Paula Jean Swearingen, I think is who it was. She was a Justice Democrat who ran against Joe Manchin. Unfortunately lost because Joe Manchin essentially just flooded the entire election with a crap ton of money. But he has announced that he's going to vote in favor of Brett Kavanaugh, which is pure insanity. The idea that we're in a situation where it's so close, right? We would have a tie, assuming that everyone votes on party lines except for Murkowski. It'd be 50-50, and then Pence comes in. But now that Joe Manchin is going to vote in favor of him, there's no, I mean, you're still 51-49 at this point. Then that means that you're not even going to have a tie where Pence is going to come in. So Joe Manchin, he's going to be voting for him. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Joe Manchin also voted for Neil Gorsuch, so he's easily the least liberal Democrat in the Senate, and overall he's just complete garbage.
No, this is perfect. Actually, if you want to step back here, we got a nice little semicircle going.
Senator, explain your decision to vote for.
First of all, I saw that Senator Collins, out of respect, I wanted to watch her give hers, and she asked to do that, and I knew when I saw she was going to do that, I said, fine, I watched it. And then I made my decision, and I gave my reasons for my decision. Ours went out, and we wanted to make sure.
You can listen to the people here. Are you concerned about?
Very much concerned, basically, with the sexual abuse that people have had to endure, and very much concerned that we have to do something as a country. But I had to deal with the facts I had in front of me.
Do you believe the allegation?
Are you willing to be the 50th vote for Judge Kavanaugh?
I just, I never thought of it basically 50, 51, 52, whatever would have happened. I says, I had to do and vote on the facts I had in front of me. If I'd have been in that position, I would have liked to have brought this place back to normal procedure if I'd have had that opportunity to a 60-vote threshold.
But why did you wait? Why did you wait for Collins to make her announcement before you made your announcement?
I think that was basically what was. I saw her announcement that she was going to say that she would do that.
But did you follow her? Did you decide to vote that way because she voted yes?
Oh, no. I think everyone labored with this. Everybody labored with this decision. And we all did our own. We done due diligence. I was all morning long, everything.
Senator Murkowski not voting with her party affect your decision at all? How does Senator Murkowski voting no affect your decision at all, creating a bipartisan on both sides?
Senator Murkowski is a very, 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 very dear friend of mine. Very dear friend of mine. And she did everything, crossed every T, dotted every I. She went through the same process we all did. She came to a different conclusion. I came to my conclusion really this morning when I went through another hour and a half.
Do you believe the allegations?
Do you believe Dr. Ford?
I believe Dr. Ford. Something happened to Dr. Ford. I don't believe that the facts showed that it was Brett Kavanaugh, but I believe something happened.
You think it was someone else who did it?
I think something happened to her. And there was no way at all that we could see.
Senator, what do you say to women who watch this process unfold, heard Dr. Ford's story, and feel like Judge Kavanaugh is getting confirmed anyway, even though they've stepped forward, and that the Senate is essentially slapping
I've had people all over West Virginia come forward, and I have the greatest, just the respect, but also just basically the hurt that people have, the trauma they've gone through, and I don't know, I have empathy and sympathy, and I'll do anything I can to make sure that they are heard, to make sure this doesn't continue.
Do you think this was an adequate FBI investigation into Kavanaugh's past?
I can only have what's in front of me. That's all I have in front of me.
Based on what you've seen, based on what...
Interviewed for the FBI investigation?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you think there should have been more witnesses interviewed for the FBI investigation?
I think that, there's always more that could have been done, I guess, if people are looking at it. I looked at what was in front of me, and I had to make a decision.
But based on what you've seen, was that a thorough investigation by the FBI?
It was, from my standpoint, it was thorough from what I saw. The people that I was concerned about, how they said and what they said and how they did it, I did.
Senator, do you think that there's still a place in the Democratic Party for you after this?
Whoa!
I'm just a West Virginian. I'm just a good old West Virginian.
But you're up for re-election in a difficult race. Are you concerned the base is going to revolt?
I didn't look at this from a political standpoint. I didn't do that.
So here's what the Hill says. It says Senator Joe Manchin, the lone Democrat who will vote for Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, was confronted by angry protesters outside his office after announcing his position. Manchin's answer to reporters justifying his position were drowned out by a group of women protesters chanting at him, "Look at us," and "shame." Running for re-election in a state President Trump won by double digits, Manchin is considered a vulnerable Democrat. I think that that's mainly the reason why he did it, but that is not enough. I don't care. It's irrelevant. This is someone who's going to be on the court forever, so I don't care if you get voted in or not, because he is someone who you should vote down. You should vote Brett Kavanaugh down. This should be something that weighs on your conscience for the rest of your life. So Joe Manchin, I wasn't even really surprised, to be honest, and you might be able to tell by my demeanor and my delivery right now, because we know Joe Manchin. So he's terrible. He's horrible. Now, the two pro-life Republicans are Lisa Murkowski, who came out and said no, and Susan Collins is the other one. Now, Susan Collins, unfortunately, has come out saying that she plans to support Brett Kavanaugh. So the Hill says GOP Senator Susan Collins said Friday that she will support Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court nomination, clinching the votes he needs to be confirmed. So she gave some super long speech, like a 45-minute speech, and at the end, I guess she just said, "I will vote to confirm Judge Kavanaugh." It says Collins rejected several of the arguments that opponents of Kavanaugh, a judge on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, put forth in saying he should not be confirmed, including concerns that he will scale back protections for pre-existing conditions in health insurance and that he would insulate President Trump from special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation. Quote, Judge Kavanaugh has been unequivocal in his belief that no president is what? Okay, so she's I don't know what she's saying. Obviously, she's lying because that's not true at all. He literally wrote, as we already know, he's the one who wrote that a sitting president shouldn't be indicted. And that if you want to know the real reason why Brett Kavanaugh was actually appointed, it's because of that. With the Mueller investigation going on and constant growing calls of impeachment, I mean, the reason why he chose Brett Kavanaugh in the first place was because if this case ends up going to the Supreme Court like it did with Richard Nixon, if you remember, where the Supreme Court unanimously voted against him, Brett Kavanaugh's got his back, and the Republicans will have a strong majority in the Supreme Court. So that is essentially the reason why he was chosen in the first place. And so she's just lying. Like, she's just completely lying. And she also talks about, so here, look, obviously Roe v. Wade's a huge issue. And here's what she said. She said, protecting this right is important to me. To my knowledge, Judge Kavanaugh is the first Supreme Court nominee to express the view that precedent is not merely a practice and tradition, but rooted in Article 3. Overturning Roe v. Wade is the complete opposite of valuing precedents, okay? That is not stare decisis. That is the complete diametric opposite of stare decisis. He will overturn that, and he will make new grounds, no doubt. And the sad thing is, you're going to have now a majority, a strong majority, by the way, a huge majority now of Republicans on the Supreme Court. And while I don't think that I don't think it's possible for the court to go as far as being like the Lochner era Supreme Court, where they were taking down basic work week hour regulations, child labor laws based on the idea of right to contract. I don't think it'll ever get that bad, but dude, we're going to get pretty close because there's already a pre-existing conditions case that's going to the Supreme Court. And so there's so many of those going on that there's no way that there's not going to be these crazy decisions that they make. They've already made anti-union decisions, and it is just a complete travesty. So shout out to Lisa Murkowski, but Susan Collins, you failed us, and Joe Manchin is a douche as always.